Osho in Withdrawal. Yeah, Osho was a junkie for many years. He had many health problems, which he ignored. And when he went to prison, he had no choice but to drop the drugs, because he couldn't get the drugs. He was on nitrous oxide and Valium. So, an hallucinogen, amongst other things, and a tranquilizer, a strong tranquilizer that he was taking regularly. And it kind of kept him chill, and he didn't do anything. He just lived in the lap of luxury as a godman, basically. And, yeah, his paranoia kicked up when he was in withdrawal, when he was in prison. He claimed he was being poisoned, and, yeah, it was just untrue. What actually happened was his specialist diet requirements were not being looked after. Now, what do I mean by that? Mostly, he was a diabetic. He also had several allergies, and as a result, he was in gut agony while in prison some of the time. Not all the time, but some of the time. And mostly down to his allergies. And, yeah, you know, he had a bad time in there, and it was a huge breakaway from basically being dosed up to the eyeballs on drugs, basically. So make of that what you will. Make of that what you will. But yeah, he gets out of prison and claims he's still being kept under pressure, and the American government are keeping him under pressure. Like, he applied to enter Germany, they said no. Holland, they said no. Italy, they said no. Canada, they said, we're not going to even let you land to refuel. We're not going to let you in. Because he was a terrorist. He was, to a mild degree, he was like a little Osama bin Laden, wasn't he? Looked a little bit similar as well, but that's beside the point. He carried out bioterrorism in the United States against 700 people, 700 odd people, so it's a bit higher than that. People who were poisoned by salmonella, which his followers put onto salad bars. You know, weaponized salmonella, put on salad bars in 10 restaurants. So people would go to these places, eat salad, and 700 people from, is it Dallas or Dallas? In Oregon got poisoned. One person seriously poisoned. They were hospitalized. No one died, thankfully, but still it's bioterrorism. That's why he's let off with, you know, oh yeah, a small prison sentence and now you can fuck off out of the country. You know, that's basically the crack. And, yeah, his followers come with all sorts of excuses. But it's like, no, he was definitely involved. The documentation, you know, released from the commune, it's like, oh, he actually was involved? There are some honest people who follow Osho and his work. It's like, you know, oh, he did this, he did that. And, yeah, we should pay attention to what he did wrong. You know, all the luck to those people who've actually got an honest sense of right and wrong. But, yeah, he was not a nice guy. He was a terrorist. And a lot of people don't want to admit that because they're invested in the idea of the man. The idea that he was this, you know, great and important character. Why did the American government do this? Oh, they obviously wanted to torture him because he was too enlightened. He was going to bring down the whole system. Which brings me on to, in fact, I'll mention it in this video, the idea that he was assassinated. He wasn't assassinated. He was a weak, old man who had gone through a great deal. And the prison sentence didn't really damage him that much. He was already an invalid who did no exercise. He was already a weak individual who was heavily on drugs for like 30 years. Mostly 20 years, but nigh upon 30. And, yeah, what do you expect from the man? You know, a person dosed upon drugs, with paranoid fantasies, and excuses. Why did you go to prison? Oh, it was my assistant who carried out those plans of bioterrorism. That's not what the US government said. So what's the truth? It's a plot by the American government. All right. Why are these other nations, which are not America, not letting you in? American pressure. It's a conspiracy. It's a perfect conspiracy because I can't prove a fucking word of it, and therefore it's a perfect conspiracy. And then he dies, of course, he dies. And people then say, oh, it must have been an assassination attempt. He was poisoned. Poisoned by what? Poisoned by this. The symptoms don't match. shit. You're just a negative Nancy. You're a hater. You're an agent for our enemy, this kind of paranoia. And obviously it's been like 30 years since Osho has died, but even so, his followers are still preaching the same sort of lines. Many of the moderates, of course, they'll say, well, we just like the words, we like the ideas. I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that. I don't know about that. And someone will say on Osho International, the YouTube channel, in the comments, that was never confirmed. And they'll block you, so you can't respond. It's like, shit. Bastard. These people are cretins. And actually, because of the criticism of the guru, they will openly, and this has happened to me, of course, back in 2012, they will openly try and shut down your channel. They'll flag your material when you're just using an image, a still image, under fair use. They will say, no, you can't use that. What? Your personal interpretation of, copyright law. That's basically what they've got. It's like, oh, that's an image of our guru. Flag it. It's like, no. That's not the way copyright works. In fact, I went for a whole drama with that, but that's an old bit of news, isn't it? With that, basically, my channel, Robert W. Lester, presently known as Bob Lester, I basically had them flag that. And other people put up videos. People like Mac Nuts, and I'm not sure if Felinoid joined in that, he probably did. And a bunch of other people I could mention. And, yeah, Osho International had to flag a whole bunch of videos. I think we managed to get most of them back up. I think some people didn't contact me until much later, and it's like, well, they didn't have that communication. I didn't have that communication necessarily. And in fact, I got an email from them. It was this guy, I can't remember his name, but he had a European name. Apparently they're based, Osho International, according to some reports. They've got some bases in Switzerland, but I'm not sure how true that is. But in any case, you basically have them making up excuses. We can abuse the copyright system because we want to give a golden view of our guru for future generations. It's madness. I mean, it's a complete lie as well. You have to apologise and be an apologetic speaker and expresser, I suppose would be a better term if you're a publisher like Osho International is. You have to be an apologist for a cult leader, scam, junkie, and bioterrorist, a planning mastermind, a Indian guru equivalent of Osama bin Laden in a manner of speaking. At least he wasn't crashing planes into buildings. He had his own personal plane. He didn't bother doing that. But yeah, still a dangerous character. And the conspiracy theories in the cult to make it float are ridiculous. I could name several other cults like that. It's the thing as well, if you have to make your ideas work by creating elaborate conspiracy theories, it points to the obvious that these ideas are not true. But really, that's none of my business.
I have to say, I think Robert almost comes with a deep psychosis. A genius, thinks he's so smart.